tell you where I've been. Okay, guys, but now you've heard the story of the sailboat offer on Facebook. I messed up and actually messaged someone, messed up even worse, and talked him into offering me the boat. Well, we got to go look at the boat. It's several hours away. Luckily, my good friend Chris said he was up for the drive, so I didn't have to make it alone. So we made a road trip of it, cruised up to Appalachicola. No traffic, no nothing, just a nice, easy drive to go take a look at the boat. Couple things here we noticed. First, driving up is going to be the size of the boat. Yeah, it's more boat than I bargained for. Online it said 24-foot overall, so I subtracted a bowsprit from that and figured it was about a 20-foot hull. No, it's a 24-foot hull plus a 6-foot bowsprit, so I went from basically a 20-foot to a 30-foot boat. It's old school, which means there's no safe or comfortable way to get around on it. Running back stays are right in your way, shrouds are in your way. All the lines run to the base of the mast on belaying pins, so no cockpit convenience for you there. Um, the boat seems big and then it seems small. It kind of goes back and forth. So here's some shots for perspective, and then we'll go take a look at the inside. I think if it was an 18-footer, it wouldn't be roomy enough, but there's room in there.
There is.
Not much standing room. Now at this point, I'm just trying to get as much perspective. I want to show Jenna what the inside's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. I'm trying to see what it's going to look and feel like. I mean, we've already ruled out cuddling, so that's an issue. And the big issue is this center board. That gap's not supposed to be there. Something's gone wrong with the lamination down below, or something's swelling up. Down here on the rails, we're just looking at some superficial stuff, so that's not a big deal. That's varnish. But if you're gonna have a wooden boat and a classic boat, it's got to be a number one Bristol Fashion. If the ghost of Irving Johnson comes aboard in the middle of the night and takes the helm, uh, he's got to be impressed with how you're upkeeping the boat. So all this varnish needs to come all the way back down. All the gray needs to come off. These shrouds, these pins are rusty. That's not such a big deal. That can all be replaced. I'm looking at the hours and hours of this varnish job, and I'm just having flashbacks right now to my time in the service at Yost Boats, which is the shop this was built at. It likely just spent so much time in the sun without being recoated. It started to. He said they wanted to save some money. It's an issue. So let's go take a look on the inside. This is coming through the hatch. Again, some of the stuff is still relatively unfinished. A lot of the stuff hasn't even gotten any of the varnish yet. The chain locker being right in the V-berth, I'm not a fan of. I think it's going to be muddy and wet, and I'm going to put something up there so that we don't have to deal with it. Again, a lot of this boat is unfinished. Super rare for a project boat to have a project that's unfinished, but it's so close to being done. Okay, Chris had never been on a gaff rig boat, so we took the sail for a little test ride. Here we are raising the gaff. You normally want to have it parallel, maybe slightly after being just a little lower as it's coming up. And then once you get it up here, you're going to table it, get that boom up, and then you're going to bring the peak all the way back up. And now when you lower it, it's just going to kind of go on the opposite. It's going to come down at that angle. Just scandalize the hair to keep the wind out of it, and that's going to force gravity towards the throat, towards that mast, and help it come down. I don't really like how some of the blocks were led. It was kind of squeaky, a little chafy, a lot of friction. It had a hard time coming down. But I really just wanted to get as much footage of it as I can to show everything on this boat is going to be slightly more of a hassle than a modern boat. There's no stack pack. There's no, I don't know, any modern convenience to any of this. You got to go forward on the mast. while you're underway to raise these sails. There's no winches on the boat. If you want bigger winches, do pull-ups and lift dumbbells because your arms are doing the work. Um, you have a belaying pin, which is what I'm making it off to there, and I'm kind of explaining to Chris how it works. The belaying pin's ancient technology, super simple, and that's what's cool about this gaff rig is yes, it seems complicated and there's a lot of steps, but the components are very simple. This boat could be repaired anywhere in the world if you just had a little bit of tenacity. You're not gonna have to wait for parts. I could take any broken part on this boat to a machine shop, and if I got the cash, I could get it, fixed pretty quick. It's sheaves, pins, wood. It all takes time, and that also goes for furling the sail. Furling the sail is going to take time. Um, I'm going to add some more lazy jacks back aft and spread that level out around a little bit. The lazy jacks, they help the sail not fall off to the side, and that's really helpful with the gaff sail because there's a lot more back aft because it's a four-sided sail. This isn't a three-sided sail. So they can be a little bit more of a hassle. They can flop out. There's a couple cool furls you can do, and they got to look good because the furls get the girls. So you got to have your boat look in ship shape. There's also a really nice custom cover on this. Same thing. It's got a million snaps, a million parts. It's gonna take a while to get used to. Um, and so I just recorded this whole session to really show what you're gonna have to do before and after every sail. You're not just popping out and cruising. There's work to be done just to play with this thing. Engine cockpit here. Engine worked great. It's only a few years old. It's actually still under warranty, so we just fired that up just to check it out. Then we went out into town and looked around. It was a pretty cool little town. Pretty much shut down for the night though, so we got a bowl of soup and headed back to the boat. Listened to a little Django Reinhardt, little classy 1930s jazz. Plays a little gin rummy, and just spent the first night on the boat. It was really comfortable, really nice out. Um, I had a candle going, which I did question, is that the best idea for a wooden boat? But I was like, hey, it's not even mine yet, so what's the worst that can happen? I spent the night on the boat, woke up in the morning, and went and met with the owner and looked over some paperwork, and that was our day. After that, we headed back home and made the trip back to Tampa. So stay tuned to see what happens next.